Hi, I'm Gila Marto, and I'm just here with some newfound friends from the political world. We're here to really try to promote better use of technology to get our roads moving, to make it safer and more accessible. And I just want to mention that my private members bill is I want to draw in a lot of projects that people have. I've had two private members bills dealing with cleaning, basically it's Highway Incident Management Act, basically dealing with accidents on our highways to get the highways moving fast, because right now we don't have a system to deal with major collisions on our highways the way some other large cities do. And this is not just a loss of time for people and aggravation and danger, but it's also a loss of revenue for the province of Ontario as well as the Greater Toronto Area. And basically, what I would like to see is an advisory committee, which actually existed in Ontario. We had a committee of this sort just to deal with highways, really. It was a faster clearance working group, and there were stakeholders from the OPP, trucking associations, and as well as the insurance industry. And I'm just going to throw it over now to Elliott Silverstein. He's the Managing Government Relations Director for CAA for South Central Ontario. And I've known Elliott for a long time. He's really passionate about making our roads safer, more efficient, and to really advocate not just on behalf of CAA customers, but on behalf of all of us. Go ahead, Elliott.
Thank you, and good morning. I want to start off by congratulating MPP Marto on the upcoming introduction of this bill, which includes what was formerly part of Bill 30 in the last session of government. The bill that's going to be going forward complements a lot of what we talk about every day about safer roads in Ontario and having some of the safest roads in North America. And I think that through private members' bills, it's very important to to open up the discussion on a lot of key issues. For CAA, we were advocating for some of the safety measures around tow trucks just a few years ago through former MPP Garfield Dunlop, which became part of the Making Ontario's Roads Safer Act. So very pleased to be here today to talk about some of these key issues. The introduction of some discussions on tow trucks over the last number of years has really talked about modernizing the towing industry, looking at consumer protection and various requirements. This again, as part of this bill, looking at the reinstatement of this committee, would help us ensure that a lot of the work that's been done would continue to progress properly. Having the reinstatement of the committee would ensure that the right people are at the table all the time to have the important discussions, be it government, industry, police, and other stakeholders. Ultimately, it benefits the public in the end for many reasons. The standards are critical when it comes to highway incident management, getting people to safety, making sure the roads are cleared off and opened up in a reasonable time frame. At the end of the day, the committee and its objectives under this bill, it's important that consumers are kept in mind, because in these situations, they're often vulnerable. There's also a need for service, as well as ensuring that police have the necessary measures to and the requirements to deal with the situation at hand. But I think really at the end of the day, it's important to get this committee reestablished to bring all the people to the table and help keep Ontario's roads safe and moving. Thank you.
So thanks, Elliott. I want to mention that there's a lot of interest, not just from the members of provincial parliament, but from people in the community. When I've been door knocking during campaigns, people have such great ideas, but they have nowhere to bring those ideas. They have to go to their MPP and hope that somebody puts together some kind of private member bill. We have Rick Nichols from my caucus, who has a recent bill looking at putting cameras basically on school buses because of all the cars that drive by and the danger that is to our students. Michael Harris, who has the Safe Roundabouts Act. We have Bill Walker, who is actually looking at a motion to modernize the symbol for access for persons with disabilities. Everyone is on the same page on this issue of accessibility parking permits and the situation. You know, when I'm going to be introducing Louise Russo. When I am driving my car, I am thinking of Louise Russo, I'm thinking of Wendy Murphy, I'm thinking of Peter Anathanopolous, I believe I'm saying his name right, I hope, from spinal cord injury. And I am thinking of them because when I see that there are no accessibility parking spots left, and we know from the recent police blitzes that many of those people parking there are parking there fraudulently in various ways, either with fraudulent passes or using a pass improperly, that I'm thinking, what if Louise or Wendy or Peter have an appointment for work or a doctor's appointment and they can't find a spot, they just can't go and park in a spot that's a little further away. Unfortunately, they require the use of some kind of wheelchair. And it's really, we need to raise the public awareness, yes, but what we need is we also need an advisory committee that the politicians can go to, that the stakeholders can go to, and yes, that even the public can go to advise on better use of technology to make our roads safer and more accessible. We know on the 407 up in York Region that there's transponders, and I wonder to myself, is it possible to have some kind of fob or transponder system for accessibility parking that would alert security, if it's at a hospital, if it's at a mall, and they do have a security office, to alert them that somebody is parking in that spot without the proper fob, at the minimum, to have an email to go to whatever officers are supposed to be doing enforcement or security guards, at the minimum, to have some kind of email or text message system that you can alert them somebody's in the spot without a pass. Now, it's possible they're using the pass fraudulently, but at the minimum, to alert, because they can't be driving around and checking. Just last week, the Toronto Police Services Board put forward a motion to the City of Toronto asking them to look at the issue of accessibility parking and accessibility parking permits. Councillor Joe Mahavik is also working on a motion to address this issue. This is something that doesn't just concern people who need those spots. This is something that concerns all of us, because it may not be us now, but it could be us one day. So I'm going to ask Louise Russo to say a few words, and then followed by Wendy Murphy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for bringing this to our attention and for following up on it, because you just don't understand, unless you're in the situation, how difficult it can be to just be able to get to an appointment and to, or just have that freedom of, just to be able to park. It's something that we should all have, the opportunity to do so. It's, the awareness needs to be there, the education. The individuals need to know that we need over 3.5 feet of space to get out of our vehicles, to be able to get out safely, and you just see so much fraudulence happening all the time, and it's so upsetting that we need something in place, and we thank you so much for bringing this to the attention.
And thanks for coming down, because I know how hard it is for you to find parking near this building. Mm-hmm. Wendy?
The points that have been made are very, very good, but also one of the bigger problems too is, aside from fraudulency, is the number of spots that are opened or available for wheelchairs. I guess it's according to the size of the facility, so there's a designated number of wheelchair spots. And with the permits being, I guess, registered or put out so often now, there's not enough spaces for us. Another is a continuity from municipality to municipality. I could go to one city and park my car in a place that's maybe not for the wheelchair, and it wouldn't be against the law, whereas in another city, if I was to go there, I would get a ticket. So continuity from municipality to municipality is very important.
And I would just add to that, there's also the issue of money, that in some municipalities you don't have to pay if you're parking in accessibility parking, whereas in other, in other municipalities you may have to. The rules change, as Wendy said, so I know of people who've gotten tickets because they've driven to see a specialist in Hamilton and they didn't realize it was different rules from Vaughan. That there's also the issue of why are people using those passes fraudulently? And it's money, because if you have the pass, you're not paying for parking, and those spots should be reserved for the people who really need it. So I really would appeal to people to contact their MPP and to say we can do better in Ontario, to better use of technology, to get our roads cleared of accidents. I know Elliott had arranged for me to meet with somebody who had suggested a GPS sort of Uber system for tow trucks so they weren't racing to the scenes of accidents. We had an unfortunate accident last year of a young girl who lost her life because she was trying to get to the other side of the highway to claim that fare for her tow truck driving boyfriend. So I think we're going to wrap it up now, and I don't know if there's any questions. We have somebody here who speaks French from the French media. Peut-être on peut parler quelques mots en français.
Oui, c'est pour ça que je suis ici, Madame Marteau. J'aimerais vous entendre en français sur votre projet de loi. Quelle est l'essence de ce projet de loi-là? Qu'est-ce que vous voulez obtenir?
J'aimerais avoir un comité de voir si on peut utiliser les technologies plus avancées maintenant pour notre rue, pour la stationnement, pour les gens comme Louise et Wendy qui sont ici avec moi, avec les chaises roulantes. Et aussi, je suis avec Elliott Silverstein. Il est le directeur pour les relations gouvernementales pour CAA. Et il travaille très fort pour voir qu'on peut avancer l'idée d'avoir un comité pour voir toute la technologie qu'on peut utiliser pour notre rue, même pour les signaux. C'est pas synchronisé du tout. On voit qu'à London, en Europe, on a des lumières, je ne sais pas comment on le dit en français, les lumières pour les rues, mais pour utiliser les ordinateurs que c'est synchronisé. Et même on a des places en Europe où on peut voir un numéro et ça nous donne la vitesse qu'on devrait prendre pour arriver à la prochaine lumière juste au temps pour que ça tourne vert. Alors, on a la technologie et ici en Ontario, ici à Toronto, on peut l'utiliser beaucoup mieux qu'on le fait maintenant. And I'll just repeat that very quickly, that about synchronizing traffic lights, that there's technology out there to synchronize traffic lights called smart traffic lights, and they even have places in Europe where they flash a number. When the light turns green, it'll say 55, and that means if you go 55 kilometers an hour, the next major intersection where there's a light, it'll be just turning green. So don't go too fast and have to stop, and don't go too slow and slow up the traffic. So I think we'll wrap it up for today. We're going to keep pushing on this project, and we're going to stay in touch.
Yes.
And we're going to have to really raise the public awareness, because unfortunately it's not enough to put forward private members' bills. You have to get the community to really push the politicians to get it to debate, to get it to community, to get it back to debate, and to get it to the vote. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in.
Madame Marteau, juste une dernière question. Qui serait sur ce comité?
OK. On aimerait voir les polices, quelqu'un de CAA. J'ai pensé aussi, il y a quelqu'un qui est un expert pour la transportation pour la cité de Toronto, peut-être pour la cité de l'Ottawa. On peut décider après exactement, et ça peut même changer tout le temps, mais j'aimerais voir que c'est quelque chose que la public, parce qu'on sait que les comités gouvernementaux ont souvent, c'est ce qu'on fait toute la journée, c'est qu'on a les gens de la public. Ça ne prend pas un organisme, quelqu'un, n'importe qui peut venir ici à Queen's Park et demander au gouvernement de changer quelque chose ou seulement de donner leur idée. En personne, par leur courriel, par le téléphone, n'importe comment, mais moi je veux attendre les idées de la public. Merci.